Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, oh man, I might start that again.
you start that again, mate.
Yeah. Ladies and I've just been in the pub, had a meeting, but Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, species around the multiverse, welcome to Geek Syndicate episode 363, where we do what? I'll tell you what we do. We bring the sass back to geekdom. Who is we? We is me, Monts, and with me as always is...
Me is B, B is me, and me is B. BDB, me.
It's like what happens is it starts off a little funky and then just always take it a step too far. I think it was the BDB thing. It's like you're Tukey from Buck Rogers. BDB.
That wasn't what I was going for. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, okay. It's good to know, really.
Yeah, it's good quality times. How you did? And evening all.
Evening all. Yeah, because it's evening as we're recording.
It's the blackest of nights, the darkest of times.
Can I tell you what my favourite ever quote about nighttime is from Lord of the Rings, the Battle of Helm's Deep?
I bet I know what the quote is.
Go on.
Okay. This is a night as long as years. How long will the day tarry? The one is not far off. But these creatures of Saruman, these half-orcs that have been bred by the likes of Saruman, they will not quake at the sun. They won't move for dusk or dawn until Theoden himself is taken or they themselves lay slain. But is it not true that no foe has ever taken the Hornburg while men defended it? Aye, then we must defend it by hope. Oh no, you're right. He just didn't say dawn is ever the hope of men.
Dawn is ever the hope of men.
Yeah.
Come on, B. That was bad. Your memory's good, you know.
Hey, look, every year without fail, that Lord of the Rings audio drama goes on, man. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
Every year, man.
Yeah. I follow this guy on Instagram and he's an airplane engineer.
Oh, yeah.
And it's called Airplane Facts with Max. And and his setup is this. Yeah. But he's like walking around an airplane and it's like, all the panels are off. You can see the innards of the engines and everything. And he goes, this is a monocarbon filament. And it's really cool because what it does is this, which is much like the time when so-and-so stood on the mountain of Aragon with the eagles of blah, came in at him and he just goes on and on. He goes deep, like something from the Silmarillion or the Zoom. And he goes, but yeah, monocarbon filaments are cool too. And it's like, it's amazing because my boy's Lord of the Rings knowledge is unsurpassable. And he just, whatever he's doing as an airplane, he always works it into Lord of the Rings somehow.
Do you know what, right? I love the Peter Jackson films, especially the extended editions. But like, the one thing that I kind of miss from like the audio drama that I thought they nailed it, man, was the Eagles talked in the audio drama.
Yes.
And the Eagles are like, it's like they just stepped out of some kind of Shakespeare play. Do you know what I mean? We will go with a Gandalf. We don't come to the beck and call of wizards. Do you know what I mean? I was like, yeah. Whereas in these ones, they just kind of rocked up at the end like they were like an Uber. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, like Eagle Uber.
Igloo from Mount Doom. Oh, that's going to cost you.
Yeah. Oh,
it is the age-old one when people sort of go, why didn't they just get the Eagles to fly them there in the first place?
Yeah, let's not talk about that. I did hear a very good answer to that, and I went, that makes perfect sense, but I can't remember what it is.
They couldn't be asked.
Let's go with that. That. Now, listen, I know this strictly isn't what we're here to talk about, but before we go any further, I just got to mention traitors.
Oh, where have you got to? Isn't that like week that was?
I don't know, because it's not strictly geek stuff, is it? I mean, we can
no. Good point. No, let's do it now. Go on.
So, I mean, you were telling me about this from time, and I was like, maybe I'll get into it. I'm not sure I could, deal with a game show that highlights, the worst traits of humanity, all of that stuff. And then I was speaking at a festival, and the guy in the tent next to me was on the second season of Traitors. And we got, it's a mate now. So I thought, I've got to give it a watch. I breezed that whole second series in a week, and then went back, and the kids got involved. And we've all just watched the first season, and now me and Siobhan are on we're like 4 episodes into Australian season season 1. I'm loving this show so much, man. I'm loving it. People are like the best bit. We're halfway through season 1.
So
Yeah, go on.
Before you continue, right? For people in the cheap seats, briefly, what is Traitors? Because not everyone knows what Traitors is.
So Traitors, you get 22 people. The English one, you get 22 people in a castle, and Claudia Winkleman hosts it, and she goes around. They all wear blindfolds. She goes around. She taps 3 people on the back. Those 3 people are the traitors. Their job is to meet every night and decide which one of the faithful, the non-traitors, they're going to murder. During the day, they all do, as a team, do tasks to raise the kind of pot of money that people win at the end. And then they have a circle where they talk around and reason about who they're going to banish from the castle. And that's when the faithful are trying to root out the traitors. But the traitor's job is to kind of sow seeds of dissent and discord amongst the faithful. And it is as entertaining as hell. And halfway through the first season, my daughter, my 13-year-old, turns to me and she goes, "Can they not get intelligent people to play these games?" And I think it's the amount of people went, "I can't believe they came in here and lied." I'm like, the game is called Traitors.
That is literally the point of the entire game.
And it's like the bit where like one of the traitors throws another traitor under the bus. It goes, "Can't believe you do that." The game is cool. I refer you to point 1. Do you know what I mean?
Traitors, people.
It is so amusing, man. And the Australian one is killing me.
See, for me, right, I like the British one. I do like but the host of the Australian one, he's just killing it for me, man.
Yeah, and he just walks in with his suit with his little pocket watch. He's just
got swag for days, that guy, man.
I mean, don't get me wrong, Claudia's brilliant, but swag man. Yeah. It's got swag man. It's just
swag man.
And it's just I don't know. And the thing is, what I've learned is, if you come in and go, "I do this job, which makes me great at studying people," you're going to be the first to go because you're usually full of shit.
There's a lot of that goes on, man.
Yeah.
There's a lot
I watch
of
people can't get nothing past me. 2 weeks later, didn't see that, did you?
I think there was one guy, and I can't remember, but I think he was like some sort of either designed escape rooms or something like that. And the way he went out was money, and I can't remember. He did some one line to some guy who basically had got him out. Do you know what I mean? It's like, "Now here's the grand delusion for you." It's something like that. I can't remember, but it was quality, man. I
don't know. There was a guy who was like a magician, and he was on it with his girlfriend, and he just lost it. he just doomed them. But he was like, "Yeah, I'm one of the greatest magicians in the country. My job is to read people, and I'm going to tell you who the traitors are. It's this person, 100% wrong." He was like, it's like, "Jeez, come on, man."
I mean, some of the people,
and it was funny because one of the guys went, "You know what? If you're wrong, this isn't going to be great for your career."
I'm sure he's like, I'll stake my reputation there. Will you though?
Yeah. But there was one guy. He was a traitor, and my boy, he went in deep because it was only 4 of them left, and he was like, "I tell you, I'm not a traitor. I swear on anyone's life. I swear on anyone's life. I promise you." And I was like, tears were coming out. I was like, wow.
Let me tell you, man, when you get to the end of the Australian one, you need to call me. You'll call me anyway, but you need to call me because the end of that one, I was just. It was like seeing a twist in a twist that you knew was coming, and yet when it still dropped, you were just like, "I can't believe they went there." I was just like,
man. Yeah. Anyway, should we start the show proper now?
Yes.
I just couldn't not talk about it. It's just.
So, welcome to Geek Syndicate with geek stuff.
Yeah. Let's get back on target. Stay on target.
Stay on target.
News.
Okay. You got any news before we...
I've got one bit of news, and I suppose I am raising a glass, and I know you will join me. I'm sitting here with whiskey from a company called the Great Drams. It's called Liquid. This whiskey. I got it in the. I met the brewer at the festival I was at the other week. Very nice marmalade tones. But I'm sure you'll join me in raising a glass to James Earl Jones.
Yep, I'm drinking Quiet Rebels single
Ooh.
malt Scotch whiskey. Yeah, which I bought on my my 55th birthday. I won't say how much it cost, but I treated myself. It cost a lot, which is why
Yeah.
which is why it still lasted me until now. Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
I've been sipping that shit like gold dust, man. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, there's a reason these things are called sipping whiskies. You know what I mean?
It's like in them films, man. It always burns me in films. I see people like whiskey and they just pour it out and then just down it in one. I'm like, yeah, that's not expensive whiskey.
No, that's cheap. Yeah. That's everyday whiskey, man.
That's everyday whiskey, man.
Yeah.
That's what I should do. I should have like 2 bottles. I should have the good stuff and then I should have like a bottle of everyday whiskey. If I had a hard day, everyday whiskey.
Yeah, exactly. The kind that burns on its way down and you don't care because it's been that kind of day.
Exactly.
Yeah, because this is slipping. Anyway. James Earl Jones. I met him once.
Did you?
Yeah, because he took to Broadway a play called Fences, and I was
And
I was understudying Fences in the West End with Lenny Henry, and he was in London. So it was 2013. That was a year before Grace died, because I remember Siobhan was pregnant with Grace, and he was in London to do As You Like It, I think, which got. He came to see the show because, this was a show he brought to Broadway, and he came backstage afterwards. And the way the show was that us who were understudies, we were made to feel very much like second-class citizens. Mm-hmm. And so all the main cast and crew, they were there ahead of us, and we were just skulking in the back going, wow, I can see him, basically. And his wife tapped him on the shoulder and just pointed at us, and he was like, hey, fellas, what are you doing back there? Come up here. Is there anything you wanted to ask? And just brought us straight in.
Fair play.
And I was like, okay, that's a sign of a good man. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah. But I mean, you know what I mean? That voice, Darth Vader, iconic, would not be the same without him. Tulsa Doom, Conan.
That's the thing. I've been seeing a lot of the everyone's gone with Darth Vader and stuff like that, which is true. You know what I mean? But one of the big things I do remember him was like in Conan the Barbarian.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I remember him delivering this monologue about what the Riddle of Steel was.
I thought you were going to break into the monologue.
No, I wasn't, man. I'm not going to try and do James Earl Jones. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. But
no, it's difficult, man. It just feels at the moment that a lot of
iconic.
And someone that put a picture up. I've seen this picture pop up every so often. It's kind of like the original Star Wars cast, and there was sort of slightly fade some of the ones out that have died.
Right.
And I think it is now, I mean, Lando was in that, I'm talking the original as in like the first film. Now it's just Mark Hamill and Harrison Ford.
No, is that it?
Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
Well, that's cool. Oh, no, way to go. That makes you feel old right there, man.
And you think it's bad from our perspective. We're saddened by it and stuff, but think about them two.
Yeah.
They started, they did something that changed their own lives as well as so many other people with all of these other people who they became friends with and stuff.
Changed cinema, man.
Yeah, and now those people have gone and it's just kind of like them two sort of left. I mean, that's still tough, man.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Here's to James.
Here's to James.
In other news,
mm-hmm.
Goonies 2.
What?
Goonies sequel.
Yeah, I know what Goonies is. What?
Like, it's all over the place at the moment. As I've been looking at New York Post, has got it, NME, Daily Express, Pink News, Comic Book Resources, The Mirror, it's all over the place talking about but I can't tell whether it's Well, some of them say the Goonies reportedly returning for sequel.
I'm now typing
So it's
in
all
Goonies
over the place, but it's meant to be set with the original cast 40 years later. So it's a real time sequel, if you see what I mean.
Right, okay. I mean, on one hand, like, no, it's not even. Well, actually, no, because that means it's going to have short round in it.
Yeah.
So, but another thing is, I think part of it is that sometimes things are just over their time. And
Yeah.
things have a time, and I've just. Funny enough, as I was just searching for that, I've just seen a headline which is like 10 80s movies that deserve a legacy sequel, like Beetlejuice, because they've just brought out a sequel to Beetlejuice, haven't they?
Yeah.
And I'm kind of like, but do we need to? I don't want to be one of those like, well, don't know, we shouldn't have sequels ever and blah blah blah. But I just feel like, is this going to be the next thing now? Is it just going to be like find
It
out
feels
what
like
80s?
it is.
For me, it's like
I mean, Goonies was great. It was of its time. I want to see something. If you're going to bring something back instead of coming up with something original, I want to see something that deserves, that would benefit from a reboot or something. So basically, I just want to see Blake Seven come back.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. I want to see Blake Seven come back.
But you're right, and the thing is as well, there's lots of properties where maybe there was like one series or people had sort of forgotten them, really forgotten about them, that you could kind of like bring out and dust off and give it a fresh lick of paint and do something different. Prime example, again, with you like it or don't, we both loved it. But what they did with like Battlestar Galactica.
Who saw that being that good?
Yeah, exactly. But I fundamentally, as a creative person, I still would rather see new stuff.
Absolutely. And I think what does my head in is you walk into any bookshop, any comic shop, there are 1,000 new and original ideas on the shelves.
Hundreds of thousands, mate. Do you know what I mean? And my thing is like, you look at what they did. Okay, now we're years on and there's 4 seasons worth. But you look at what they did with Stranger Things when that first dropped. They basically sat down and was like, you know what? We love 80s. We love the 80s. We love the films that were going on then. We want to do something like that with those sensibilities for an audience today. Boom, you got Stranger Things. Yeah. Rather than just going, let's just do a Goonies Netflix show. Do you know what I mean? So I'm not really, and is Spielberg going to do it? Do you know what I mean? So I'm not necessarily that excited by the idea of a Goonies 2. I would have been excited about it if it was many years ago, because I just don't know how it will. It's only going to work. I think how they'll do it is they'll probably do it in a similar way to what they did with Ghostbusters Afterlife, of which I did really enjoy. I put my hand. I really enjoyed Ghostbusters Afterlife. I enjoyed the second one less. So
I haven't seen
either of them.
Yeah,
you should. I think you'd enjoy the first one because that definitely had that kind of 80s sensibility, even though that was set sort of today. But I think it was because it was Egon's granddaughter, I want to say.
Yeah.
So it was kind of, it was kind of set around with kids and stuff and whatever, and it had the older cast in it. But the way they used them, I think, in the first film was better, and it worked. I wonder if that's how they'll do this. Yes, you'll have the cast back, but they'll be like parents now, so it'll be kind of their kids maybe that will be doing it, but they'll just be in there. I know a different way to do it, which would be interesting, would be if it was just them on the adventure and there was no kids. But I don't see how that works because that's what the Goonies is aimed at.
It's like, it reminded me of, did you ever see that short film? That was a fan film and it was the Power Rangers as adults. And like one of them had post-traumatic stress disorder and was just a drunk. Another one was
proper
doing
dark.
It was so dark. One of them was doing Black Ops with the government. it was like, yeah, I just.
I mean, don't get me wrong. If you're going to go down that road with something like that, I'm all in. But they're done with adult. You know what I mean? So,
exactly.
because they're doing so moving on from the Goons, but in the same sort of sphere. Because they're doing a Masters of the Universe film, another one.
Yes.
And they've cast Alison.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
I've forgotten it. What's her
Who was
surname?
in Community?
Alison Brie. Alison Brie, yeah. They've cast her as Evil Lynn, which I can see that.
Mm-hmm.
I can see that. I can't remember if they've cast He-Man, but I have to say, because I actually really enjoyed the original film. You're gonna have to go a long way to top the skeleton you had in that one, man.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to go a long way because, he was good, man. Apparently, they're saying it's coming out in 2026.
Yeah. So it's not, sounds like they haven't even started production yet. It just sounds like it's been greenlit.
No, I don't. It doesn't still. I think there's some people that had cast that have kind of left now. So I think that one's a wait and see. But again, and also I think some of it as well is kind of like, I think it's a really tricky thing because you're rebooting these things which are originally aimed at kids, but the audience that would know about these properties and would really get a kick and enjoy them are now adults.
Yeah.
So then it's a difficult. How do you pitch it? How do you market it? And as I said, I think that Ghostbusters Afterlife really kind of, I think, nailed how to do it. Personally,
yeah, it's on my list, or it's going on my list. It was on my list when it first came out, and I was trying to get. Do you know why I didn't see it? I was trying to get the kids invigorated, but wasn't happening.
Yeah, just if they can't jump on the train, man, just let the train roll out. That's what I say.
Thanks for that. Let the train roll out.
Okay. Barry with no kids gives kid advice. There's a podcast.
Let the train roll out.
Just let the train roll out.
I'm there for that.
You on board, kids? No. Okay.
Woo woo. Oh man. Anyway,
I did have something. There was something I was going to say. Oh yeah, they're doing this new. They're doing this new Penguin show it's called The Penguin.
I did not.
Do you not know this? It's been all over the place. Yeah, it's already done. It's out. I think it kicks off 19th of September.
Okay.
So this is set in the universe of the Batman. This is the Matt Reeves, the Batman.
Yeah.
And it's got Colin Farrell reprising his role as the Penguin.
Okay.
So it's going to be. So the bit of news was that they basically they're not going to have. It looks like they're not going to have Robert Pattinson in it. As
Are they going to have Batman in? Oh, but they are going to have a Batman in it.
I don't think so.
Okay.
Or Bruce Wayne. Says they did consider it. What did you say? When I'm doing the Batman story, Batman Bruce is going to be the main point of view to explore the Rose Gallery. They could never get the real estate we can do in the series. So Batman. Oh, okay. So Batman is in this show only as a sense that he's a presence. You're aware that all the events began because of the Riddler, but the Riddler doesn't appear and Batman doesn't appear.
Right. Okay.
They said they did consider it, but I can't. On one end, I get where he's coming from. I suppose, actually, to be fair, no. But I was thinking of Gotham Central, but that did have Batman in it occasionally, didn't it? The comics.
Yeah, occasionally.
Very occasionally, though.
But it wasn't about him at all.
No. I think there was a way to have their cake and eat it, and I think so long as he's mentioned, because this is supposed to be set a week after the events of the Batman.
Right. Okay.
And given what happened, I don't want to spoil it for people who still haven't seen the film, but given what happened at the end of that film, it's supposed to be following a week afterwards. I would find it very difficult to do that without mentioning the Batman.
Yeah.
But the trailers and stuff I've seen of it looks hardcore, Monts.
Okay. All right.
Proper kind of gritty kind.
It's live action, yeah.
Yeah. That's what I said. It's Colin Farrell, isn't it? So,
Okay.
right, yeah, but he could still just be doing the voice. Yeah, I get it. No. It's like it looks like the same tone and look as the Batman.
Right. Okay.
Exactly the same. This could literally carry straight on from it. But just looking at it, I don't know how many episodes it is, but I think it's going to be on HBO Max. I'm just trying to think what streaming service HBO Max relates to over here. If something drops on there, that might be a Sky one, maybe. In fact, I think that will be Sky. But whether or not we'll get it at the same time is another story.
Okay, so there's a trailer. Okay, I'll have a look at the trailer when we're done.
Yeah. One more bit of news. Have you seen that they're now doing open casting for this new Harry Potter series?
Yeah, we were going to put Kira up for it.
I did wonder. That's what I thought of you.
Yeah, I've had about 2 people send us thing going, have you seen this? I was like, yeah. Thought, well, you know what? I mean, open castings are usually rubbish because they already know what they're looking for, usually. And it's like, it's a way to get attention and make them seem like they're open to anybody, but they ain't usually. And you go there and you queue for like 3 hours and then you go in and audition for like 15 seconds and then go home. So I'm not I'm not a big fan of open castings, but
right.
You know what? Give it a go. So we are welcoming Jimmy to the show. If you've been listening to us for any time, you know that we love Jimmy. Jimmy's come.
Well, love's a strong word, but okay.
We like Jimmy a lot. You can
check. Call has been completed. Goodbye.
Yeah, we have a lot of like for Jimmy. You can check out his incredible podcast, Comic News Insider. I think Jimmy's one of the hardest working men in geeky podcasting. He comes over here a lot. We go over there when we can. And it's really lovely to have him on. But today we are here to celebrate the life of our recently departed friend, John Cassaday. And for those who don't know, John Cassaday, part of the reason that this podcast exists is because of John Cassaday.
That's amazing.
So Barry and I, friends since 1980. Well, I was Barry's friend since 1980. He would say that date came a little later for him.
Probably 84.
He's into it. I get it.
Yeah.
Like, all right, Dave, we'll be friends, I guess. Okay.
Yeah, there we go. There was no dissembling about it because I hated him, man.
Oh, damn.
Yeah.
And but eventually we became close friends, and Barry left me for university, and then he got pissed off with me coming up to his local pub and snogging the local women and then leaving and keeping him in trouble.
Mm-hmm. Sounds so not like you, but okay, sure.
So we kind of lost touch a bit. And then I can't remember what comic shop I was in, but I was scrolling through and I saw an issue of a comic series that I'd never heard of called Planetary.
Mm-hmm.
And it was issue 13 that I saw, and I was utterly arrested by the cover art, which was by John. And I was like, wow. So I had a look inside, and there's this, and actually Barry posted it on his Facebook today, and it was this picture of Sherlock Holmes. I know Barry loves his detectives and his pulp and Sherlock. Yeah. And I was like, I've got to send this to Barry. And I was like, Barry, I know you rang him up, said, look, I'm going to send you this comic. And from that, we started talking again regularly. And from that, Geek Syndicate was born. So and Geek Syndicate has changed my life. I wouldn't have met you without Geek Syndicate.
Yeah. So, same with Comic News Insider, man. It's amazing.
It literally changed both of our lives in no small way. Mm-hmm. And I think part of what made us nervous meeting John was that he had no idea the huge role he played in our lives.
Yeah. And I'm glad you guys got to tell him.
Yeah.
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 It meant a lot. It meant a lot to him. He was genuinely humble. I'm already going. I'm sorry.
Never be sorry for that, man. Never be sorry for that.
He was, like I said, he was genuinely delighted to meet my friends, and especially I told him about you guys, how close I'd become with you guys. And, he was never one for like needing praise or even wanting it. But when he got it, he was always just delighted to hear it, as if he was surprised, and at that people like, oh, you like my work. I think I knew people liked his work, but it was just like, when you hear it in person like that, and you guys were so sweet and so nice about it. And obviously I know you were big fans, but you also got to know him as a person and a friend, which was really, really great. And it was really special to me because I love you guys and I love him. And obviously we always want all of our friends to get along, because what if you don't want to be like John and like, like, oh my God, he's a jerk, or he thought the same thing. Not saying that he thought the same thing. I'm not saying
that. I was practically on my honeymoon when I met him. So, that's so meeting him is synonymous with, the love of my life.
Yeah, for sure.
Met him twice with you.
Yeah.
And you go, how can something so brief hit so hard? And I think it's credit to the man he was and the work he produced.
Of course, yeah.
But and like even Siobhan said to me, she goes, I only met him once and yet he's stuck in my head.
Yeah, he was like that. Yeah. That's the thing. You may have read my post, but I was just like, I was joking with his other really good friend, John Lucas, last night, where they were really good friends from back home in Texas. And they, John Cassaday moved here first and Lucas moved second. And when I came to the scene hanging with them, Lucas was left a few years later to move back out there. And he made a joke like, I'm handing the best friend mantle over to you. And
I saw that. Yeah.
Yeah. And it was really great. And it's true because he was one of my best friends, but anyone he met, he made feel so welcome. And then he was always so delighted to meet my friends. And I told him about you guys both. That you guys came at separate times. And he was very happy to meet you and hang out with you. Had a great time. I remember how excited you both were to meet him. And I was like, calm down. All right.
Well, it was weird because I remember it was kind of you and it was Sue, and Sue was like, just go and talk to. And I was kind of, no, I'm all right, love. And it was the two of you like, it's fine. And you were like, it's fine. He's fine. John. And I'm like, why are you calling him over? It's a John.
Yeah, I brought him over. I was like, I'm just going to bring him over. So deal with it. And,
And then within about 10 minutes, we were away just talking about like pulp adventure stuff and all. And he was just, like you said, like, he was just like a nice guy. And I know when you say that these days, people almost see that as a kind of like a lesser thing. But I think in this day and age, to be labeled a nice guy consistently by everyone that comes in contact with you, it's a big deal.
Yeah. I mean, you see that all the time. Everyone, sometimes someone passes, of course, people remember the good times. But I also know I could not be labeled that. Like, I think I'm pretty nice, but I definitely have my moments, and I think a lot of us do, but I don't think I am even close to what John was. And he was, everyone I talked to, genuinely, I mean, before this happened, was like, man, he was so nice. Like, I didn't even have to talk to me, but he did. And like, he brought him over. And like, I remember there were times when we might be in a hurry and I'd run in, I go, oh man, let me just, and he wasn't annoyed. He's like, oh, we got to get there. I'm like, oh, you'll like them. Don't worry. Within seconds, they were friends because he made them feel so welcoming and just had a good time. And he, it was just genuine.
Mm. So I would recommend to people, I mean, he did a whole, I'm looking at his Wikipedia page here. And what I didn't realize says he was self-taught.
Yeah.
Self-taught illustrator, because his work, so I bought the what do you call it? The Absolute Planetary, because to have his work that big, and I could stare at his work for hours.
Yeah, really.
And I just want to say to people, if you want to know what we're talking about, just get hold of Planetary. Number one, it's bloody good story anyway.
Mhm.
The art is amazing. He also got load of kudos for his run on X-Men. It was called Astonishing X-Men, and it was astonishing. And I can't recommend his work highly enough.
But I mean, even between that, the Captain America series was incredible that he did with John Riber, I think Reber. And yeah, it's just like I remember when I met him back in 2002. You know, he was a mutual friend, and I think that must have been around issue 13 or 14 of Planetary, and that was when there was that 2 or 3 year break because Warren got ill, the writer, Warren Ellis, so they weren't putting out any issues, obviously. But yeah, I knew of his work because I'd seen some other things, you know, he'd done. And I was like, oh yeah, I was hitting from Planetary, and I knew some other things he had done. Like, I'm like, oh yeah, my friend was like, oh, I go, yeah, I know that guy. I would love to meet him, and we immediately hit it off, like within like minutes, you know, and just remembered, like, you know, at the end of us hanging out, hey, shoot me an email. Here's my email. We'll hang out, and we ended up almost like rapidly hanging out, you know, to the wee hours all the time. So it was yeah, it was just great.
I just because I never knew his Captain America stuff, so I've just done a little image Google.
It's
damn, man, it's
incredible. Yeah, it's pretty incredible series, and yeah, I highly recommend it. It's like I think it's 6 issues. It came out around 2002, I believe. But it was yeah, it was pretty incredible, and that really, you know, combined with, you know, Planetary success, and that really started, you know, he was already on the rise, you know, so it just really, Planetary definitely shot him to the stratosphere. Yeah.
And like Dave said, I bought the Absolute Edition, and pretty much again on a yearly basis I would sit down and just read it, and
that's amazing.
And it takes me much longer than any other comics for the same reason as Dave said, because I just soak it in, because there's a lot of comics these days I kind of sort of breeze through, and especially if ones that I've already read, there's an element of like, well, I know what's coming, but I don't know, it was just his art and the way he did pulp stuff. And there's a character in Planetary which is effectively, I mean, it's effectively Doc Savage, and just the way that he drew him, I always thought was amazing. And I think when I got to meet him, like I said, it was, I think Sue told me I'd completely forgotten the year, but Sue told me I think it was 2011. And I think it was my first trip to New York, I want to say. And obviously we'd sort of seen you and stuff like that, and then you were having your birthday bash, and you were like, come along. And
you were so funny. You're like, are you sure? I'm like, of course it's a party. It's celebrating me. I want more people there. I'm like, my sure. I'm like, invite this whole coffee bar room right now. Come on.
Yeah. And if memory serves, I got to meet your sister.
Yeah, as well. Yeah, I mean, it was one of those years where it was like a Saturday night, and I always had like a good amount of people show up because I'm popular. No, but it would be like, you know, 20 to 30 people, and that year was like 70 or 80. It was crazy.
It was
15, 20 of us, and the people just kept coming, and I was like, oh my god! So I'm sure there are probably plenty of other comics folks there that were in and out throughout the night. But it's a fun night. I'm glad you're there.
Yeah, and I just remember.
Sorry, go.
I was just going to say quickly, and as I said, I just remember after 5 minutes of meeting John and kind of telling him like my story and about GS and stuff. After that kind of, and I think is what you were saying, Jimmy. After that was almost kind of forgotten, and it was just we were just chatting and just joking about, and she was chatting away with him and stuff like that, and you know, there was no kind of. There's that adage where they say never meet your heroes, and I've always kind of disagreed with that, because I often think, well, they're your heroes for a reason, and like you should take the chance, you know. And I've been lucky enough and unlucky. One of my heroes, who was a writer, he was David Gemmell. I had a chance to go and meet him, and I didn't. And then he sadly passed away, I think, a couple of months later. And then another writer who I was a big hero of, who was James Barclay. I'm friends with now to this day, and I was glad that I sort of took the chance to send him an email. And so it is. I do think it is worth it sometimes, because it's
for sure.
It's worth the risk, I think.
Yeah, I mean, it worked out with me. You guys met me, and you guys were like, "Oh, he's all right."
Well, so it's a work in progress, Jimmy.
All right, we'll get there.
So many things to say. I'm going to recommend a book to you, Barry.
Okay.
Because as you talk, I was just Googling and I discovered a book. It's an art book. It's called The Dynamite Art of John Cassaday.
Yeah.
And when I say Dynamite, it's Dynamite, the comic company who specialize in pulp heroes.
Dynamite Entertainment.
Oh, yes, I know. Yes, yeah.
So it's his covers, sketches, inks like of James Bond, Red Sonja, Green Hornet, Sherlock Holmes, Zorro, The Lone Ranger, and many, many more.
Mm-hmm. All just the Dynamite stuff, but yeah, really, really amazing.
Yeah, I love Dynamite stuff anyway. I knew he did some of the James Bond covers and stuff.
He did a ton of work with them because the guy that runs the place, they were really good friends, and adored their besides being a friend, he adored his work and would hire him all the time, which was amazing. So he saw all these great covers he'd get. Have you ever read the I Am Legion that was originally published in France? And they did a I actually think I still have the French version he gave me.
Oh, I've seen I can see the cover.
Beautiful. Yeah, it's beautiful. It's a really good story too. It's really good. But that was like 2004 to 2008, something like that, I think.
Yeah.
And but yeah, it's on my shelf too, and among all the stuff he's had, and he was very kind and would gift me things all the time. I have an original X-Men page he did, which is still hanging on my wall, and
nice.
I love the inscription, like Jimmy, or just a sign. He's Jimmy, your trusted pal. Thanks for all the kindness and friendship. It was from X-Men 6, page 13, and it's just incredible. I was just like, I immediately got that framed, and it's been up there.
Yeah.
Ever since, yeah. There's just so much great work. I mean, he was involved in so many big things, and people would always, I think would say, like, especially during Planetary, that, he was so slow. He was so fast. He was actually really quick, because Warren, and some other writers sometimes were a little slow, maybe. Warren had his, his illness, I guess. That happened. But even like during regular series, people were like, oh, this isn't coming out. And we're like, well, it's not his fault, because once he gets because people are like, oh, he's got the script now. Well, he's working on something else. He's been waiting months for that script. He can't just drop what he did to work on that. So people know, people didn't naturally blame an artist, not like in general, but it's like, it's not always the case. So
I remember talking to Warren and going, what's happened to this? It's been ages. And he's like, I don't really know what's happening next. I was like, okay, that's what we like. Well, he doesn't know where it's going.
Let's give him some time to figure that one out. Then we'll get there. Yeah. He got there, but it was great. But
I predict an upsurge in people buying things of his work. Because I'm looking at I Am Legion.
Oh, no question.
And I've always been aware of I Am Legion, and I've heard such good things about it. And I'm like, well, you know what? Now's the time.
Yeah. And Desperados, one of his first works he did, is great as well. I mean, all this work. I know I sound biased because it was his friend, but it's like, he didn't do anything bad. He was incredible. It's like, so much good stuff out there, and sadly not a ton of work, but because he would often be, very picky and choosy on things he did. He certainly got offered a lot, I know.
I was just looking at the list of stuff, and I was a bit surprised there wasn't as much as I thought there was, actually.
Oh, yeah. He, enjoyed working on things, and but yeah, he was just very kind of picky and choosy on things he did, because, I think he wanted to work on things he really liked, or he, got along or knew the writer very well, or the company, or whatever it was, he would do things for. But yeah, it was, it may not be as much as people might think or want. And of course, now we all want more, but what is out there is incredible, which, there's a whole less is more thing, but yeah, this is definitely amazing.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we've already raised our glasses to one legend today. That was James Earl Jones.
Yeah.
And I thought, given that John had actually done some Star Wars work, and I saw someone post, some work he'd done of Darth Vader, and I thought that was particularly poignant, given that it's the same day they both left us.
Yeah, we were like in the hospital on the last day yesterday, and we were just like, and then someone mentioned it, we were like, man, he'd love that in a way that he and James Earl Jones are being spoken about in the same space is pretty incredible. It's just like, legends following legends,
Yeah.
I mean, we all were giant James Earl Jones fans, of course, but I know, but yeah, it's I hope they're up there chatting and hanging out.
Yeah. Well, here's the
joke glass being raised.
Yeah, that's right, man. I don't have liquor, but I have Dr. Pepper, so
yeah, close,
not sponsored, but sorry, didn't mean to mention. I know over there you got to always say like there are other things available here on the BBC, but yeah, we had a nice little, people came in town obviously, and people came by, so a few of us just went out last night to have a little. Share some stories, and man, do I have so many great stories with this guy. And I know I've told you guys several of them over the years, and you've been a part of a couple of them here and there too. And but yeah, just so many fun memories I'm just thinking of, and it's just like everyone, like you said, everyone you met him, everyone just fell in love with him. He was so nice, and even if you might not be in touch for a while, if you needed him or needed something, he was right there. That was what was the amazing thing about him. He was this incredible talent, but this incredibly kind, giving, and loving person. So, yeah, this one's gonna hurt a long time.
Yeah, I do remember walking in and going, because in my mind it was like because he'd been so influential with that, it was like meeting a rock star, man.
Yeah, I get you. Yeah,
and but also he's this big, tall, good-looking guy, and you're just like, okay, man, it's got good hair. It's like, dude's got it going on.
Yeah.
Oh, don't even get me started on that. It's like, you know what? I had long hair back in the day, and I did okay.
Yeah.
Like walking with him, I'd have a girl walk up to me and say, "Hi, who's your friend?" I'm like, "God, again, unbelievable."
I saw the thing that Mark Wade posted. I don't know if you read that.
Oh yeah, I did. I saw that.
They were saying, Michael Rosenbaum walked in, and all the girls were like, "Wow!" And Mark just turns to John and says, "Now you know how the rest of us feel."
I'm always like, why can't I be best friends with a troll? Then I'd be the good-looking one.
Yeah. That's why I'm here, man.
Yeah. All right. Thank you. But yeah, it was just really fun. I mean, I was just always fascinated by it. Like, I mean, but that's the thing. It was like, yes, of course, he's very handsome, very charming, and people. But it wasn't just like a girl or a woman would walk up to him. It was like people wanted to walk up to him and know him because he just had this aura about him. Like, this seems like a person I want to know and hang out with. And that's why, like, at any local spot, everyone knew who he was. He made himself very available to chat with people. They'd come up to him and just start talking. And he knew so many people. And it was just like, I'd have plenty of dudes just were like, "Hey, man, who's your friend? He's really cool." I'm like, "Yeah, my buddy John, yeah." And then they become friends. Yeah, pretty amazing.
Yeah, I am.
Yeah.
Well, and sort of big love to his family and his girlfriend. You said you made it sound like
Tara was a warrior. Let me tell you what, my God, dealing with everything. His cousins were there too, and it was really nice to meet them. And it's nice for us all to sort of be together, and support each other. And I went in every day before work, and then I was off Monday, thankfully, and went in. And thankfully was there and got to say goodbye and told him, what I could, and how much he was loved. And it was But it was good that we were all together like that.
Yeah.
Don't want to bring it down. Sorry. But yeah.
No.
It's I think because I remember it's that really interesting. Interesting remember is the wrong word, but I don't think when. So it will be next week. Will be the anniversary of my mum's death, and I always remember. But the thing I always remember was the night before she passed. It was a Sunday, and we were all we were all at the hospital. Me and my brothers and some of their friends were all there.
Yeah.
And honestly, like I can't remember a time where I laughed so much because everyone was just telling stories about mum and just telling stories in general and just trying to keep each other's spirits up and stuff. And like, honestly, I was laughing until like my sides hurt. And they set us up in a little room because no one was going home. So the nurse and one of the nurses just went, look, there's a little room on the side you can all go into.
Yeah.
We just got some chairs and just kind of half crashed out and stuff. And then, we all kind of woke up in the morning and she was gone. But like, and this is over a decade ago now, but like I still remember. I remember obviously the sadness of her passing, the grief, and that still doesn't go. It comes back, but it after a while, what also comes back is the laughter and the joy that you kind of had in those, in the most horrible of times. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean we're still having laughter now. Like I said last night, we were just laughing about times we hung out and. Mutual friend, I'm getting inundated with, of course, messages, be it text or, messenger or email or whatever, which I am glad. It has been a little overwhelming, but at the same time, I'm glad because it just shows how much he was loved. And I appreciate you guys and everyone giving the support you've given because it really helps. And I love seeing all the messages out there for him and how many lives he touched and affected and inspired. I mean, he was an inspiration to me. I'm not in the comic book business, I'm just a bartender, and recovering actor, and he was always so supportive from the beginning with the podcast. My first San Diego Comic-Con was 2005. He's like, I'm going to show you around and introduce everybody. And he introduced me to Jim Lee and Darwin Cook. It was like, you guys got to do their podcast, like telling these
okay.
He had to do it. And they were like, oh yeah, sure. And, I got close with Darwin up until when he passed. And then, Jim and I know each other, I was, sadly one of the ones that was telling people that happened and Jim was one of them. And he was thankful that I reached out to him. It was just introduced me to all these people and every year it just got more and more. And then I eventually became part of the scene and people knew me and I became friends with everyone. And he was constantly like, even till, up until current times, he would tell people, he's got this terrific podcast. You guys got to check it out. You should be on it, if they were creators, and I'm like, John, you don't have to ask him that, but
also, I mean,
but he was like proud of me and he wanted me.
What's great about that is you can't put a price on someone like that, bigging you up.
Yeah. And it was great. And like, he just, he did that. He was so loving. He'd come to the anniversary episodes, when he could, I guess sometimes, or just come to hang out and support. He was always really like, he'd get in touch. He goes, oh, I know so-and-so. If you want me to get a hold of them to be on the podcast, like, that'd be great. I mean, that's, I want to I never wanted to use him to get me interviews. And, after a while, we certainly established ourselves like you guys did, where people knew who we were. And were coming to us, or they would, oh yeah, I know you. You met you through this person, or oh yeah, someone else was on your podcast. But it always, helps when a friend jumps in and says, "Hey, it's my good buddy. If you can, you'd love talking to him because he's easy to talk to and great to talk to." And so that was always really, really great. How supportive he was of it, at all.
Well, thanks for coming on and sharing, Jimmy.
I'm sorry if I was a little rambling.
No.
Like I said, for us, he's part of our origin story, so it felt really important to have this on. Whichever way this discussion goes, it felt really important to have it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
Thank you for thank you for having me. I appreciate it. And like I said, I know how much you guys loved him, and I said I know when he met you, he thought you guys were the coolest. And
he was
never
right.
wanted to go over. Well, I had to talk him. I'm like, you don't really know him yet, but we'll see. But no, of course he was right because I love you guys so much, and I know you guys have a bit of love for me, and I appreciate it. And I appreciate the support a lot. It's really been really helpful, and I thank you for that.
Well, before you go,
wait, I thought I had another 2 hours. You guys said you're paying me for 2 hours. Okay.
No, you burned through that with the Dr. Pepper ad.
You know what? You're right. That's right. Sorry.
we haven't done our week that was segment, so I don't know if there's anything you've been watching or reading or anything in the last few weeks that you'd like to drop in and go, hey guys, check out this.
Definitely probably have watched some things. Let me just think about this for 1 second. I did see a bunch of the movies that came out. Some not so great, so I won't mention those. But I did see a couple things recently. Alien Romulus. I think you guys may have talked about that recently.
I did
really
that.
Great. Really great. And then the Terminator Zero anime on Netflix is awesome.
Oh,
really great.
Oh, really?
I watched the first episode yesterday.
Yeah.
The opening 5 minutes, I was like, okay, I'm in.
Yeah. It's really great. I mean, really, it's the first Terminator thing I've really enjoyed in a while, and it's really well done. There is, I'm always a stickler for I got to watch it in Japanese and do the English subtitles, but they did hype up a lot of the English actors, so I think I went back and forth and watched part of it in the original, and both parts are. This is one of those things where both sides are pretty good because Rosario Dawson voices one of the AI things, and it's incredible, of course. And that. But yeah, I think it's really good. Of course, the Alien it felt like the original, you know what I mean? It's like, oh my God, this is. It was so good.
Definitely reconnected with where it came from.
Yeah, for sure. And I've been reading a lot of, comics just trying to do catch ups because anytime I do San Diego, it's always tough to catch up on things because I get so much coverage out there. Obviously. But I got to say, I know this might appeal to probably both of you, but I don't know if you've been reading the new Flash Gordon series from Mad Cave Studios.
Okay.
I'm a huge Flash Gordon fan.
Yeah.
And this feels like old school Flash Gordon. I was very impressed.
Who produces
it? Sorry. From Mad Cave Studios.
Mad Cave Studios.
It's Mad Cave, yeah.
Mad Cave.
Yeah, Jeremy Adams, Will Conrad. 2 issues, I believe, are out. I really love this, and was really stoked to read that and check it out. There's been a couple other.
I've just done an image search for that, and that looks proper.
Right?
Wow.
See, I knew they were doing a new Flash Gordon comic.
Yeah.
I didn't know it dropped yet.
Yeah, it's great. I think issue 1 definitely dropped. I may have read an advanced copy issue 2, so forgive me if it's but it's definitely at least 1 is out. I know for it's good.
Wow,
actually a lot of really good comics out. Jeff Lemire's new one, Minor Arcana. The first issue just dropped. Kieran's the Power Fantasy issues 1 and 2 are out. Bab is that new series from Garth Ennis. It's sort of a skewering of the female sword and sorcery thing. It's like a Red Sonja type character. It's very funny. It's Garth at his best, being funny and also violent, and some good stuff. There's been a lot of good stuff. I'm pretty
what I'm finding interesting about everything you've mentioned, none of it is kind of mainstream DC or Marvel.
No, I mean I did read all, because all the X books did a big reboot, and they're all new number ones, and there's some I like better than others. I quite enjoy the Exceptional X-Men by Eve Ewing and Carmen Canero from Marvel, where it sort of follows Kitty Pryde and Emma Frost. Only 1 issue is out, and they're sort of gathering some new mutants. That was really good out of those. And Gail Simone's X-Men, of course, is Uncanny X-Men with David Marquez is incredible. So, yeah, I do tend to lean more towards. I still read some mainstream, but I definitely lean more towards smaller companies and indie stuff nowadays, especially like big old indie graphic novels and things like that, small press. But lots of good stuff out there. We are spoiled for good entertainment. That's for sure.
Have you heard of or read Friday?
Oh, no, I know of it. And I'm a big Brubaker fan, but this is one of those ones where I just missed when it came out. And like, I'll get it collected, which I eventually will, because I've heard nothing but good things about it. Like, he's incredible. My God, yeah. I've heard good things, but
I'm about 3 issues in.
Oh, nice.
Oh, are you?
Yeah.
Yeah, I finished, because I bought so it's all out now as a complete sort of digit. So I bought it digitally, I think it was about 2 weeks ago. And read it in one sitting.
Nice, yeah.
It was
that.
yeah.
I'm really enjoying it. It's got a really nice vibe to it, and the art just you know when the art just seems to be made for the words.
Mm-hmm.
It's that kind of thing. It's lovely.
Yeah, that's why I keep hearing people like, "Have you read Friday yet?" I'm like, is that an adaptation of the movie with Ice Cube? Because I'm in.
Yeah,
different kind of Friday.
Yeah, and a huge shout out to Nick Wilkinson to putting Barry onto that.
Yeah,
excellent.
Yeah,
lots of good streaming lately too. The stuff I mentioned, actually, like if you watch the final season just dropped on Sweet Home. It's a Korean supernatural sort of.
I need to get back on that.
Yeah, season 3 just dropped like a few weeks, maybe a month ago. And I just finished.
I haven't even seen season 2.
No, yeah, you got to see it, man. It's good. It's so good.
I don't think you watched that, Barry.
No, did you tell me about it though?
I think I might have done. It's just kind of like monsters suddenly start taking over Korea.
Yeah, yeah.
and it follows a bunch of people who from a tower block, and they just kind of barricade themselves in, but monsters are getting in anyway.
You did tell me.
People kind of turn into monsters, and then you could catch it yourself and turn into one, and then they escape, and they're these troops that sort of help protect them, and then there's like a head monster guy, and then there's other it's like there's someone that sort of straddles both worlds. And yeah, the last season there's a young actress in who just steals the show. She's so good. You're like, my God, she's like 16, 15 years old. You're like, she's killing it. So good. So good. There's been some good stuff for sure.
What was I going to say? So did I hear, because I think you both have watched the show. I know Dave has, and I'm pretty sure you have, Jimmy. But did I hear right? They're doing a 3rd season of Alice in Borderland. Yeah,
they are. Yeah. I can't wait, dude. Oh my God. Because they teased it at the end of season 2.
I haven't even seen I haven't seen season 2.
What?
You have?
Hang up right now and start watching it.
I'm sure you've seen season 2. I'm sure you've seen season 2.
I'm sure I haven't.
I mean, season 2 was much earlier this year. This year. And it's but they've been talking about it. And they teased season 3, and then it got confirmed that there would be one.
Yeah.
I've gone.
Alice in Borderland. Oh my God!
I was like, we're just talking about it.
Geez.
I'm getting old, man. That's what it is.
I'm sure you've
the
watched
manga eventually, but yeah. Season 2 is my God! Like just so many amazing characters in there, and the cast I know you should incredible. Some of them I recognize, but yeah.
Of course I've seen season 2. Sorry.
Yeah,
my gosh! I'm not losing.
This is what I've got to put up with.
Oh my God!
But it's like I was
literally about to fly over and be like, "What? We're watching it right now."
No, but in my head, I'd combine season 1 and 2 into one season.
Oh yeah, okay, fair enough. Okay. My God, my girl Cunha. Oh, I love her. The transgender who was revealed to be transgender. It's like, amazing, so good. That actress is amazing. But yeah, they said there's going to be a season 3. I don't know if it's going to be. I doubt it's this year, but probably next year, I'm guessing. But
It
I think
still
it's
says
probably
TBA on the website.
Oh, it's
Okay.
in September of last year. Oh no, in September of last year, the series was renewed for a third season. So it's been a year. So, but about the comparison, like the Squid Game, of course, like, but there's so many survival type. I mean, Battle Royale from 2000 is a classic, and I've seen that movie a million times. There's all sorts of survival type shows like that. So I mean, I guess you compare the genre, but I never liked feeling like, oh, they're completely different things. While of course, then again, you get like Hunger Games, super fun, sure, but that was a total ripoff of Battle Royale. But yeah, you get it's just gonna happen within genres. You're gonna find similar things, obviously, but yeah, I like them both for what they were. But yeah, very different.
I never finished Squid Games.
I'm flying over right now. Oh my god.
You know what it was? I started watching Squid Games, and then I saw Alice in Borderland, and I started watching that, and I was like, wow.
Yeah.
And it interrupted my watching of Squid Games, and I just never went back. I did go back, but it didn't excite me as much as Alice in
I get it. Like Squid Game's definitely more like drama, story driven, and Alice in Borderland definitely ramps up the action. You're constantly on your like, I mean, God, remember how season 2 started with that one character like just shooting everyone? You're like, oh my god, people running for their lives. You're like, well, they're not starting off small.
Exactly.
Jesus.
Yeah, that was right. That was the beginning of season 2, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, you're like, what the? Well, they're back.
Yeah, this is no subtle game anymore, is it?
Yeah, but it makes you want to go back. A lot of these, well, that's something Japanese, Alice in Borderland and Squid Game's Korean, but a lot of these are Japanese movies and shows are based on manga, and a lot of almost 80%, I feel, of the Korean dramas out there are based on manhwa, the Korean or webtoons. And so I've actually gone back and read some of the webtoons of certain things, and this makes you want to read the manga of Alice in Borderland, which I feel like I may start at some point in the near future.
It does. Well, the time is ticking for me, and
yeah, same. I actually got to run myself.
Yeah.
But thank you so much, guys. I really appreciate you having me on and talking, and I appreciate your kind words about John, and I love that you guys met him and got to hang with him a bit. And yeah, let's just celebrate his life. And when I see you guys in November, we can share some stories for sure.
For real. Thanks, and give Tara our love.
I will, definitely. Yeah, I'll be seeing lots of the friends. We're all sort of just off and on going to get together and chat and share things. And, with New York Comic Con coming up next month, I'm sure that'll be happening a lot too. So that'll be nice to see people and gather. So that'll be good.
All right, man. Well, you take care of yourself. Big love.
Thanks, man. You too, guys. Love you guys. And I look forward to seeing you in November when I come over.
Till then.
Yeah, love you too, Jimmy. Take care, man.
And that's it. So until next time, do something good. Save the universe. Geek Syndicate.
Yeah.
We out.
We out.